Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's already Wednesday. Where has the year gone? We're like halfway through the year. We're coming up on summer, and we're halfway through the first week of June. So, wow, things are rolling right along. And we got a great lineup today to go through. Well, one of the regulars is with us, and we'll be going through a lot of the headlines and educating, informing, and entertaining. Speaking of entertaining, the effervescent Chris Cordani is here. Good morning, Chris.
Effervescent. Does that mean you think I didn't shower today? Well, it's Wednesday
No,
and
it
it
makes me
happens to
think.
be showering day.
It makes me think of Alka-Seltzer.
There we go. So you're saying I look like Speedy Alka-Seltzer. That's why I put on the goatee, so nobody thinks I look like Speedy Alka-Seltzer anymore.
Yeah, well, it's better than the Tidy Bowl, man. Just saying.
I prefer the Maytag man. There we go.
He always had a uniform on, and I always thought he was up to things behind the scenes.
That was only on
I
different
I
strokes.
don't understand why they never put Ron Jeremy into a Maytag repairman uniform and let him be the spokesman. I'll never understand that.
For the record, that was only on different strokes where he was up to something. But I actually, Gordon Jump was obviously the great Arthur Carlson on WKRP in Cincinnati.
He was great. I love the show. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, WKRP is the truth. It's real. It's what happens at radio stations. I worked in a real WKRP. That was my first radio station. It's actually the first radio station I ran as well when I came back to it. So it was my first job as an executive. But really, the owner was a great radio man himself. Perfect,
Yeah.
Great engineer, great on the air. But he was an Arthur Carlson in a lot of ways. I was probably a cross between Herb and Alex a little bit because I had to do sales.
So you weren't Les Nessman? I
No,
always thought Les Nessman was kind of interesting. So, and
I-
of
I-
course, Johnny Fever. I love Johnny Fever.
Well,
I think I would identify with Johnny Fever most.
we had a Johnny Fever that was Jeff Blizzard. He actually looked a little bit like Johnny Fever, but he was definitely a Johnny Fever. We did have a Les Nessman, although that guy was a little bit more lazy than Les Nessman. Probably wasn't going to win the Golden Sow Award, but he was definitely a Les. So
Why? No, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
we had a Lonnie Anderson, but I really wanted to have a Bailey Quarters in there. We didn't have a Bailey Quarters in that station.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Well, I thought Bailey was pretty cool.
Well, that's the question. Was it the old Ginger versus Marianne question? The real question is Jennifer or Bailey? What do you think? Patriots, what do you think? Jennifer or Bailey? I don't know if I can hear you there.
I don't know. Tough. Yeah. This is like it's a lag. I'm trying to get my chat up and running. So
there we go.
The Patriots should definitely comment on that. I'm trying to get.
I want to know what you people think, even the ladies. I want to know what you think, Jennifer or Bailey, because that was the second age-old question. I mean, I'm again being more of a Marianne guy. I'm suppose I'm more of a Bailey guy, but I kind of like Bailey. Bailey was cool, and I also think Jen Smithers is a fine actor. Barry M. Photo says, "Oh, Barry, he's coming with us today." Jennifer, Burt Reynolds knows best. All right, I guess I get that. USN Aircrew, Bailey was the smart one. Yes, she was. Although Jennifer was very smart too. She just never let it on until absolutely necessary. So Jennifer was not a stereotypical ditzy blonde. She was very clever.
So I got a question for you, Chris. Did you throw chickens or turkeys out of a helicopter? That if you were like,
if I threw anything out of the helicopter like that, JB Pritzker would be ready with a knife and fork and a net.
Yeah, I was trolling him this morning. I don't know if you all saw me on X. This morning, he said, let me just do a little ad to the show. Basically, JB Pritzker said that you made your bed, now lie in it, to Elon Musk. And my response was, a bed of lasagna with as wide as your office with cannoli for dessert. So there you go. JB Pritzker, always interested in food. So I'm sure he's dreaming of lasagna and some other things, just saying. So
JB Pritzker, as you know, he thinks he's going to be the next leader of the Democrat Party, and he thinks he's going to run for president as well. So let's see what old JB can try to pull off right now.
I think he's going to eat the Democrat Party before he runs it. Just saying.
He'll turn them into cookies and eat them. I think that's what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, that's good.
So
anyway, enough about JB Pritzker and eating Cincinnati, which is possible.
Right. How about your old pal Cory Booker?
Cory.
Well,
my.
Here's what I like. Here's a little video from the Senate floor, and I like to call it Senator Ted Cruz channels Tony Shaffer.
Oh boy, here we go.
Very, very.
What is Hirono drinking, by the way? We'll get to that in a moment.
Sir, very, very deep into the waters of hypocrisy in your criticisms of Chuck Schumer.
So let the record reflect that Spartacus did not answer the question and did not tell us whether the criminal law should be enforced, because he knows the answer is yes. And he knows that the Biden Department of Justice was being wildly political and partisan in refusing to enforce the law because...
I love it, Spartacus. So Senator Cruz channels Tony Shaffer.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful.
Of course, the next question, though, is, and I got to ask, what is Mazie Hirono drinking? Is that a double Kahlua?
It's almost a two-handed, like, Kahlua and vodka.
American Mark says Spartacus is rolling in his grave.
Yeah. So I don't know. By the way, and he's often mistaken for Hakeem Jeffries.
I thought he looked more like Joy Reid.
What's up with all these H names on the left? I don't get it. Anyway, why is it? I just asked this question. The Patriots need to answer it too. Why is it Hakeem Jeffries, whenever he talks, it always sounds like he was just pulled over, driving drunk at 3 a.m. and about to go through the field sobriety test? He always talks like that. It's like he's trying to kind of focus on his words, speaks really fast, and then goes back. And so it's kind of like he's like, okay, what, sir, have you had any alcohol to drink tonight?
I always thought Spartacus looked more like Joy Reid, who is seen here in this podcast whining about finding a reason why she was fired from MSNBC. She blamed Trump. She blamed white guys. She blamed. I guess
she blamed her white hair. Did she blame her white hair? It's pretty white.
Now she's blaming it on executives not liking her tweets.
I got to, NBC, and I Twitter back in 2000. I think I joined in 08 or 09, and the bosses were horrified. And anytime I would tweet anything, I would get calls. I would get, please get off Twitter. We hate it. They don't like that it pulls their talent and their reporters out of their control, because now you're not running what you're tweeting through standards and practices. It's giving your personality directly to the audience, which they don't like because it's no longer managed and curated by them.
Your personality, just saying.
There you go. I think that's the answer. Saying. Right. Now, Tony, here's another thing. It's very difficult when you work for a company, you're the face of a company, to tweet without being vetted a little bit. If the management says yes, tweet without being vetted, it's good for a company, fine. But if it tells you your tweets are kind of a little bit off and they kind of hurt our brand.
We've had this conversation, you and I, with certain other folks in the past. Just saying, yes, I understand. Yes,
but it really was not
the front facing thing. I know, I get it, because I've been front facing on a few things. Just saying.
Right. But the point. But the point is, it's not her tweets. It was her tweets actually did better for her. It brought people in and brought some curiosity to what she was doing from both sides. Well, the idea was it was her presentation, her constant race baiting. Even on MSNBC, that act got old. She was boring, and then she decides to blame it on race on that same mousy podcast. And you think about it, that most of that lineup is minority at this point, and they're anchoring it around who they think is the hot babe of the lineup, Jen Psaki, who, unfortunately, while she is smart, not really. Well, okay, compared to the rest of the lineup, she's she's boring.
So part of the issue, Chris, as far as I'm concerned, is Joy Reid was, in a word, homophobic. Excuse me. And according to her, Hakeem Jeffries is in my throat. Anyway, I digress. So my point being is that Joy, with the white hair. You know, I think I don't know if she had white hair back then, but I don't know.
She's a skinny.
She was like talking about gay folks. She doesn't like gay folks. So I guess if you're out talking about gay folks and what you're saying, I don't know what that, it's one of so.
Fair enough. But what you don't understand is that Joy Reid understands all of this better than you do, and you know why? Because she offers the perspective of a black woman.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So on the same Mousy Woman podcast, I don't know who this mousy chick is, but unlike most liberals, she does have a chin, so that's at least 1 point in her favor. Anyway, Joy Reid yaps on about this, about how she knows Trump best and she knows all this stuff best because she's a black woman.
I think that there is there's a difference for Trump in hearing the kinds of criticisms specifically out of a black woman. It bothers him in a way it doesn't bother him like anything else. He's got this sort of tick about
sure it doesn't bother him.
Race.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. In fact, as far as Joy Reid's concerned, that's a tree in a forest for somebody like Donald Trump. Yeah, some annoying liberal says things about Donald Trump. I think that's what he likes.
This is narcissistic personality disorder on display. It's like, the president listens to everything I say, and it keeps him up at night. It's like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
Maybe she could do a podcast with Keith Olbermann. There we go. I mean, we're somewhere. Wasn't he? Is he on?
Yeah, I think that could be
exciting.
That could be exciting. They could both like wear brown shirts and do Sig Heils to each other. It'd be kind of cool.
And about, sort of criticism coming specifically from a black woman, because we've seen him lay out and dish out real, abuse against black women journalists. So I think and also I did a specific thing, which was I tried.
He doesn't just abuse black female journalists. He abuses all the journalists. So it's okay.
I think it's pretty clear on that. It's like, if you say something stupid, he's going to come after you. I don't think he cares about the color of your skin or the whiteness of your hair. Just saying.
To constantly unpack the racial history of the country, which is very much against the sort of Project 2025 thing. And it's something I can do in a certain capacity because of my background, because not only am I a black woman, but I come from immigrant parents who come from what Donald Trump would consider shithole countries, but that have I have a take on race that is different. I think that there is
I don't think it's just,
there's a difference
racist.
for
There's a
Trump
racist take on race.
in hearing the kinds of criticisms.
I'm with you 100%. And the fact is she actually thinks, she offers a seriously different perspective because she's a quote unquote black woman. All right, that's fine. She is that. But she's basically mouthing the same exact thing every leftist journalist says about Donald Trump. Donald's a racist. That's not unique from anyone, not from her. Donald says mean things to reporters. Well, you say something stupid, that's fine. The only real and by the way, not even her haircut's original because she tries too hard to look like Stephen A. Smith. Used to be she had a Trump haircut, but now it's the Stephen.
I don't know. I think her 5 o'clock shadow is a little bit darker than his. I don't know.
That's a good point. But Stephen A. Smith at least is entertaining and funny. And
mostly
he's reasonable sometimes.
He's a B. He's a B plus at best. He's not like David Spade or Denzel. Not Denzel. What's his name? Oh my God, he lives in Yellow Springs now. Come on,
Denzel Washington.
No, he looks like you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Living. Oh my God, Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Well, look, this guy's a liberal. This guy's a liberal. He's not. He has spoken out in support of Trump. He has in certain ways. He says, I agree with Trump on some things. And the funny thing is, a lot of liberals, the ones who
Dennis Rodman, K says Dennis Rodman. I think it's true. No, she's probably got tattoos like Dennis Rodman too.
The thing about liberals like Stephen A. Smith today is a lot of them 10 years ago were saying the same things Donald Trump is saying today. The problem is Smith doesn't go to automatically orange man bad mode. He says, well, wait a minute. I agree with this some years ago. I'm going to agree with it now. Well, these leftists are always, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, orange man bad. Prime example, Elon Musk speaks out against the big, beautiful bill. And I agree with him in lots of ways. There is a lot of waste. There is a lot of pork. And
let's talk about this
thread, right? Yes.
Right.
Liberals are now fans of his now.
I just want one last thing to say on the Joyless Reed thing. Isn't it cultural appropriation for her to use white hair? Because that's not. I'm just asking. I'm just asking because I don't know these things. But
Heyo, that's a good one. That deserves a heyo right
all
there.
right, let's go on to Elon. So, as you saw, I was trolling JB Pritzker about his talking about Elon lying in a bed of lasagna, which sounds pretty tasty when you think about it.
Anyway, I'd do that.
I would. Yeah, go ahead, keep going. So we're back to the big beautiful bill with some big beautiful blemishes.
Well, let's put it this way: Elon Musk. He wasn't the first one who said anything about this. The fact is, Elon Musk said, in a nutshell, and you've read this all through, but in a nutshell, what he's saying is, I worked my ass off to try to cut spending. You, sir, said you'd work on getting Congress to codify a lot of the spending cuts, and now they're not doing it. I'm a little pissed off. And you know what? He's right to be so, and Trump should be right. Too.
So, in defense of, I'm not. Let me be clear on this. I'm on the Freedom Caucus's side. I saw my friend Scott Perry tweet this morning. He's with Paul and Elon Musk. And so am I. But according to the administration, they are sending over separate bills to capture the reduction in savings. So I kind of get that. I don't trust it, but I get it. So what they've been saying now is, oh, no, we got you. We're going to reduce, yes, we're going for all these different things, no tax on tips. Who's not for that? I think they should have just stopped taxing Social Security, just saying. A number of other things which will benefit people. And they're going to do a separate bill to take out USAID, NPR, and all that stuff. That's what they're saying, Chris. So I'm in the middle on this because and of course, people aren't going to like it. I consider Thomas Massey a friend. I know. Always says no. I like Thomas.
Hey, look,
I've been in the room with him. I understand Thomas.
Massey's there to represent his people. His people don't like excessive spending, so he is just representing them.
So I respect his courage because it takes courage to go against even your own side. Just saying. People tend to forget I was a whistleblower against the Bush 43 White House, and that was an interesting experience. Anyway,
I want to ask you though, Tony. The fact is, the idea of Doge, the idea of this big beautiful bill was supposed to be about spending cuts. It was about cutting the debt, which it's apparently not at this point. Okay, yes, I agree that we're probably not taking into account potential revenue, but let's talk about cutting spending. I agree with.
Yeah, I know you guys don't like Massey. I get the point. He's a friend, so I'm sorry.
Look,
I'm not changing. I'm not dumping a friend because you guys don't like him. Sorry.
No, and that's fair. And you know what? Rand Paul said, look, we can't keep raising the debt ceiling. He's been saying that for years. So he says, let's stop here. This is the right president to do so. Donald Trump even agreed with saying, hey, I don't like the debt ceiling being raised. He said that before. So let's get into this. While Trump is saying it's a net positive, guys like Massey and Paul say this is not going far enough. So where is it? Probably somewhere in the middle. If there's a way to cut the pork out, or the Senate can cut some of this garbage out, maybe this bill could be sent back to the House and be agreed upon.
So I'm with you all. So let's. I see people are fired up in the chat. Good. With that said, you need to have Thomas Massey's and Ron Paul's and Rand Paul's and saying, hey, you need to do more. And that's what I'm on the do more side.
Right.
The idea of adding $4 trillion to a bloated bill is like, no, we just need to cut. We aren't going far enough. So and oh, by the way, I've said this on the show. I said this on Newsmax. We should be looking at defense cuts too. The Pentagon should be not taking a powder here. It's like, oh, well, we're going to get more money. No, you don't need more money. You need better leadership. And Pete Hegseth is working in that direction. But giving more money never solved education's problems. Matter of fact, Chris, aren't we getting rid of the Department of Education because we spent money out the yin yang and it didn't do any good, right?
Oh, it not only didn't do any good, it sent us backwards as far as intellectual. Right. So yeah, but I will say Hegseth was very happy with the idea of getting all sorts of money in the big beautiful bill, but I'm pretty sure he'll make do if there's a cut. Like you said,
he would make
better,
do.
right? Like you said, better leadership means
People
better
tend
results.
to forget, Chris, that in 86, 87, Reagan actually asked for less money in the defense bill. He didn't continue to expand. He actually said, "Oh yeah, we've met our requirements. Thanks, we're good."
Yeah,
People
by the way,
forget that. It's like no. He wasn't going for this ever expanding budget at the Pentagon. All right, so, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to. By the way, thank you, Jamie. Jamie says that this is her happy place here, and
Oh, good.
hearing our
Well, we
amazing
love
voices.
you all. We
All right,
love
well,
this.
I'll tell
We
you
love
what. Maybe
y'all. We love being here. Yeah.
my voice isn't amazing. One of my first radio bosses told me I sounded like Bullwinkle.
Well, Chris, there you go again. It's those damn Democrats. I don't know.
Hey, Tony,
Yap
watch me pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Yap Weinberger pulled me out of bed this morning. Told me that, well, Tip O'Neill is on the wagon, and I don't know who I can drink with now. I don't know.
Or, hey, Rocky, let's go. Hey, Rocky, let's go get Boris right now. I don't know, Bullwinkle. Last time you tried that, we got in some serious trouble.
That's right.
More like Rocky.
It sounds good. It's good though. Someone liked my Bill Clinton impression the other day. They put it in chat. I don't know who it was.
Nice.
Someone said, "I like your Bill Clinton."
You're doing
Well,
great,
thank
Bill
you.
Clinton, I'm gonna tell you. But let's
I
put it this way.
feel, Chris, I feel your pain.
I wonder if you said that to Monica.
Oh man.
But anyway, it's another story for another day. But hey, the fact is, this
I got
bill,
cigars over here, though. I got plenty of cigars.
Oh, here's something that
Bombastic
bothers me.
cigars.
I never liked
What's that?
Trump, and I never liked Trump and supporters calling this the big beautiful bill. Again, it reeks of the extravaganza.
Marketing. It's marketing.
Right. But
It's
it reeks of that. It reeks of the lie that was called the what was that? Inflation
Obamacare?
Reduction Act, or Inflation Reduction Act. Yeah, that was the Inflation Enhancement Act. Whereas this is a big beautiful bill. No, it's a big pork laden debt increasing bill. There's a lot of good in it. There are a lot of positives in this bill, but these Congress members, the reason why we elected these people is to not keep adding pork to important bills just to get that.
So let me address that. Let me hit that. Okay, so and you all know I'm an elected official here in Chihuahua County, and one of the challenges is here at our level, we just can't write checks and disregard the consequences of spending. We can't. We're going to spend the fourth day, Chris, tomorrow from 9 a.m. to noon, hopefully the last budget day. This is public. I'm not saying anything. This has all been announced. We are working through trying to manage the budget for, making sure that schools are adequately funded, teachers, that we have adequate investment and economic growth, that we use the money coming in from our freaking bird killing windmills. We have the tallest in our little county here. We have the tallest green energy. Can I say that? Green energy? Because it's not really, but they pretend it is. We have the largest windmills in the state, like the tallest, like they're way up there. They're taller than Seb Gorka's ego. That's how tall they are. I mean, they're way up there. It's high.
That's pretty tall.
That's pretty tall. Anyway, so we get up. They're up high, and when these things go, they generate energy and income. We're supposed to get money out of that, so we have to take a little money. So my point is, we got to manage the budget. We just can't. Let's just put everything in there and run up the deficit. We can't do that. Most people can't. Chris, can you run up in deficit in indefinite deficits? Can you just go and buy 5 Porsches today and a Ferrari on the side and say, hey, yeah, I'll pay that some other time. My kids will pay that off. Can you do that, Chris? Would you do that? I don't think you can.
No, not as a regular person. You can't. No, not at all.
No, and you can't do it as a local government, and you can't do it as a state. So, but somehow at the federal level, they must have magic beans. Chris, did you know that they get when you go to Congress, they don't tell you this. You get magic beans, and you can plant them, and they grow, and they generate money. Did you know that?
Hey, I'm a big fan of magic beans, to be honest with you, but I'm just not allowed to have them at home.
Well, I think some of those guys smoke their magic beans because they're out there. They're out there running up the deficit. So I know some of you don't like the fact that I like, Thomas Massey. You guys trash talked him. It's okay. I get it. This is an emotional issue. But people like Thomas, people like Rand Paul are pointing out the obvious. All of us, we can't just, here's my credit card. I'm just going to go out. Oh, there's a power boat I've had my eye on. I'm going to buy that Chris Craft. Yeah, it's $85,000. And, why should I worry about my kids going to school? I'm just going to spend it and hope for the best, right? We can't do that. So why is it we accept the federal government doing it, right? Why do we do that?
I'm with you. Again, the federal government seems to think
yes, George. They need to do separate bills. I'm with you, George.
Well,
just put it
that's
there.
Another thing too.
Exactly.
But here's the problem with the idea of deficit spending. If one side wants to cut spending, the other side is going to find a way to just keep the spending going.
Yeah, we'll talk about milk here in a bit. I want.
I told him I was going to discuss that too. I wanted to get. I wanted to get
talk about Harvey.
Yeah, that's another thing. But okay, but let's get back to this. There are certain people. There's certain when the Republicans want to cut taxes, the Democrats want to keep increasing spending. So both sides agree to just keep things as they are. Feed the tax cuts to the masses as part of PR, while the other guys say, "Hey, let's keep spending and increase the deficit and debt." No one's going to bother us because we can just keep printing money. What happens is we are now. If you look back, and I know it's when you say make America great again, a lot of people look back and say, oh, the 50s were horrible. Well, the 50s were a time where you can spend, and even the 60s and the 70s to an extent, one income could raise a family, send kids to school, support everything, buy a house and everything else. Nowadays, with all the money printing, the debt spending, you need two incomes, and even that's a problem. Consumer debt is extremely high because two incomes in many cases cannot sustain a household. Or even
Did you know in the 60s you could go to the doctor and pay out of pocket and you'd still get treatment? Did you know that? Because I remember this as a kid. I had to go in for something when I was like 5 years old. I don't know. I think I had I don't even know what it was. And like paid cash. We didn't have insurance. We just paid cash. Like, hey, here, you had a patient doctor relationship, and it was all done at the local level. The moment you basically inflate something, you give it more money. It's like, oh, let's have a process. Let's basically hoard care. Let's have people control it. And the moment you do that, you break that patient doctor relationship. I sit on 3 boards that manages care. Trust me, I know this. I'm witnessing it as a participant. Just saying. So
I'm with you. By the way, we did have, as American Mark does want us to get into this, so let's get into this before we bring Barry in. The naval ship. I even forgot. The USNS Harvey Milk will be changed.
The USNS Harvey Milk. It's
It's not going to be. It's no longer going to be named after that notorious socialist. I don't care that he's gay.
He's worse than a socialist.
Right. He's a socialist who palled around with the Socialist Party in San Francisco, far leftist, and yes, he and those people palled around with Jim Jones. So these people are part of the downfall, the original part of the downfall of San Francisco. They're part of the socialist movement in San Francisco and America, and there should never have been a ship named after them. This is why I always say the gay flag is not a gay flag, or the LGBT alphabet flag. It's not a flag supporting them. It's a socialist affirmation flag, where other socialists like Joe Biden and his administration say, let's name ships after other socialists and just disguise it as the first gay guy in office. So let's just and the constant whitewashing of this man's career and this man's politics, it really bothers me.
Yeah. A quick note: did you hear that the White House has canceled LGBTQ month? So I guess Gerbil Appreciation Day is off the table this year. So no gerbils. Just saying.
Right. But it's now Gerbil Safety Month, which is a good thing.
That's right. Gerbils are safe. Gerbils can come back out of the ground wherever they live. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Anyway.
I'm not sure how to segue this. But speaking of gerbil, I'm just kidding. Speaking of
Good morning, Barry.
Hey guys.
Speaking of protectors of gerbils, how about that? Barry,
that's right. We are the gerbil friends. It's like a new version of the MCU, Marvel Universe.
Happy former Harvey Milk Day.
Yeah. So, Barry, why is it when I hear Reverend Jim Jones, I smile? It's like, man, maybe we could all get Democrats to go off to a Jonestown. Wouldn't that be great?
Well, they're in Jonestown.
Just need more barrels of Kool-Aid, and that'll be the end of it.
Like, hey, that's an idea. Maybe Harvey Milk wasn't all bad since he recruited for Jim Jones. Just saying.
Actually, I never knew that. That's interesting. Yeah.
It's like, he was recruiting Democrats to go to a foreign land.
Wow. Never knew that connection.
Maybe we're missing something.
That's even crazier than I thought, that a ship was named after him. Yeah.
Well, let's hit that. So Chris brought it up. The Patriots want to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, Mark brought it up.
What was Secretary of the Navy Marbus thinking when he named a Navy ship after a pedophile?
Was that Pelosi that initiated that?
Oh, Marbus. Well, Congress had to approve it, but Marbus, Secretary of the Navy Marbus, back in 2014, I think, did it. Yeah.
It's about him being a socialist. It's not even about him being gay. They could have picked other gay guys to name, or gay officials to name.
Well, apparently,
both probably. I would guess.
Well, so one of the things they've been saying, well, he's a Navy veteran. I know Navy veterans who are in prison for life. Just saying, it's like, okay, that's not like the ultimate like overriding factor. And he served in, I guess, 1951 during the Korean War. He did not see combat. Just saying. So don't be saying, oh, he's a combat veteran. No, he served during a time we were at war. I'll give him that, but he wasn't a combat veteran. And they're saying that's why
he still won up from Tim Walz.
Like,
right.
Yeah,
that still puts him ahead of Walz. So at least he's up there. But the fact is, you can't name any American institution, American ship, anything owned by the taxpayers after a socialist. That should never happen in this country.
I agree.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Barry?
Well, I'm thank God for Pete Hegseth, because the adults are back in charge now. Now we have to name the ship after a real naval hero, that perhaps.
Yeah. Well, Sean Parnell, my friend Sean, I haven't talked to him about this, so don't be thinking I got this information, because I don't. I did tweet to him this morning, X to him, whatever you call it now. And it's like Sean said, yeah, we're doing this during the former Gay Pride Month. They did it purposely. It's like, yeah, we're changing the name, and we're doing it on Gay Pride Month, the former Gay Pride Month. So just saying. So
that's a nice salute to the Pride Month. Good. I love it.
Yeah. Good. So I've never understood. Barry, can you explain this to me? You're like a sophisticated guy. I'm not. I live down here in rural North Carolina, shopping at Walmart, which I actually do.
I'm a Jersey.
Why is it who you sleep with should be a distinguishing characteristic that somehow makes you more qualified for things? Can you explain that to me? How that happened?
I've been arguing with people online this whole week about why we shouldn't be celebrating the entire month, why we shouldn't have flags, why baseball shouldn't be having Pride Month. Just all this is celebrating who you sleep with. Why is that an accomplishment? Being a veteran or serving, being a hero, being law enforcement, those are accomplishments. Being who. I don't celebrate that I'm a full-blown heterosexual. I don't need a flag and a parade for that. I just,
that's right. And we are defenders of gerbils. We on Wake Up Patriots defend gerbils to the end, right, Chris?
Exactly. And the fact is,
we will never. I guarantee we will never invite Richard Gere onto the show. I do have my personal guarantee.
Well, here you go. Here's something. If we needed flags or a symbol to celebrate straightness and conquest of the straight man or the straight woman, we'd be worshiping guys like Ron Jeremy during that kind of month. He would be the symbol of that. The flag would have Ron Jeremy and Bill Clinton, people like that on there to celebrate heterosexuality.
Yeah. So
not Emmanuel Macron, by the way.
Barry, I got to ask you then, because I think they put Peter Buttigieg, the pirate. Peter Buttigieg. He's got like a little goatee going.
He looks so much
like he's a porch pirate now. That's why he's this disguise.
He's so cool looking.
Do you think that he and Ron Jeremy ought to team up and go after conservative men, so to speak? Think Ron Jeremy should back him up?
Back up. Nice.
Oh, wow, that's gotta hurt.
I can see just a picture of the two of them on the swing together.
Oh my!
Oh.
Oh boy, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Good morning, Ed.
I think RuPaul is probably
This is
going to
gonna
back
get me
him up more
fired.
than anybody else, but that's another story.
All right, enough about Navy and Harvey Milk. I could say a really bad Navy joke right now that I've said in private to folks, but I won't say it now because I would get in a lot of trouble. We'd be getting mail if I did this joke. Oh my God.
All right. So, gentlemen, I'll present to you what America could have been. As since we are unburdened by what could have been.
By what could have been. Yeah.
Right. But Germany is a prime example right now of what America could have been under a continued a Democrat regime at this point. Germany has set the record. Now, keep in mind, Germany is right in the middle of working to silence an anti-illegal immigration party known as the AfD. Yeah. Well, they set the record now for naturalizations in 2024. Syrians and Turks top the charts. Again, this is civ immigration. It's not like people go in, they get processed, and everything is fine, and they go into work. No, these people just come in en masse. They swarm small towns and large cities, and they just take over. That's an issue. And they call it cultural enrichment. They call it, this is absolutely greatness. It's wonderful. Well, let's take a look at some of the cultural enrichment that that we see in Germany at this point. And you got a little more than that. You got this. Here you go. This guy in the car. All right, now watch. Right in this guy's car.
Oh my God. Oh mein Gott, Digga. Oh mein Gott, Digga, was geht hier ab?
And it's like these people don't have any respect for other people's property, for the city. They make it look like trash. Yep, they're turning. They're turning these new countries and new cities into s-hole cities, dung-hole cities, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, Paris, London. I mean, not just Germany.
New York, London, Paris, Munich. Right. Everybody's talking about.
Everybody's talking about pop music. Yeah. You know, he's been back on lately too. I
interviewed him a while ago. I interviewed Robin Scott. He's actually quite cool.
He is cool. I'd like if we should bring him on one of our shows. It'd be fun.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't think he's going to come on a show called Wake Up Patriots.
Well, why not? Come on. So we should get some of our and why don't we ask
we should do
Wang Chung friend. Do you think he'd come on? You think he'd come on if we talk about UFOs?
Yeah, well, I think he would. We can talk about UFOs on that.
Let's reach out and see if we can get our friend from Wang Chung. And by the way, he's been really active.
But I want to do that.
Jack Hughes, great guy. You got to follow him. And man, he's on Facebook, constantly out touring right now. So, well, Wang Chung.
Right, and let's get that roundtable together. I want to get some of our left-leaning friends here and get us.
Maybe we should do that.
We
should get our. You're part of the rock and roll legacy community, and we should get everybody together and have something.
Right.
That talks about I don't know, the 80s, like 1980. So.
This sounds good. And also getting along. I mean, we have to get back to having conversations again.
It would be nice.
I don't. Yeah. So no, I miss the 80s. And I always tell kids, man, you missed out. The 80s. Yeah, we were about to die in global thermonuclear war. Who cares about it? What's a little nuclear war between friends, right? Well, but it was otherwise a great time. It
gave people something to pay attention to besides pronouns.
That's right.
There we go.
The 80s were great. We had Reagan, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and the '86 Mets. I love it.
Yeah, I mean it was a great time.
Yeah.
So and we all got along. Everybody got along. Everybody was trying to figure out, hey, we're all just one American people. Let's be one American people.
Let's see. Hold on a second. All right. Okay.
What are you doing?
You bring up something very interesting. Great music. And let's see. Great music and the New York Mets, who are actually good now once again. And that's pretty cool. I like to see that. We got some good hitting going on. I want to pull this up for you. If you remember this classic from 1986.
Doc.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Remember this classic from the 1986 Mets? Their theme song.
Oh yeah, that's right. Greatest team.
And a lot of stars did this one too. Let's go!
Davey Johnson.
Make the dream work. Let's go. We're gonna make it this
Very
time.
nice.
We're gonna take it home. Let's go.
And that was a big song. Remember that back then?
Yeah, I wanted to hang out with that team. They were having too much fun.
But maybe probably not as good as the one that came before that. The one that started it all. The Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh my God.
We're so bad, we know we're good. Blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Well, they call me sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans. We had the goal since training camp to give Chicago a Super Bowl champ.
And there we go. The Super Bowl Shuffle. That's the one that started it all.
So yeah, it reminds me of Run DMC and the Beastie Boys and all that stuff. So
Hey, you know what? Jim McMahon and Refrigerator, they could rap. They rapped.
So
better than-
Barry, are you a Yankees guy or a Mets guy?
I'm a Mets guy. I was actually at Game 6, the famous game of '86.
Nice.
Oh wow,
one of the greatest games
Wow,
ever. I
that's
was there.
cool.
It was pretty amazing. So yeah, and I was at the last game of the 1969 World Series when they
wow,
yeah. I was pretty little, but I was there, and I kind of remember.
that's very cool.
Yeah. So 2 amazing games, probably 2 of their only great games. But
So were you then only taking pictures of belly buttons at that time?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of the mid level.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good-
you must have some great belly button shots, I would think. You know,
That's right. Yeah, there's still today great belly button shots.
that's right.
so is it true the DNC tried to commission you to take pictures of Kamala Harris's belly button to try to make her look more Brett?
Oh, God.
Oh man.
Yeah, better than Tim Walz's belly button, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's I think we need
Close.
a tie-breaking question for that one.
Did you know? Did you know that both Kamala and Tim went to the same tattoo place where they do piercings in San Francisco to get matching belly button rings? Did you know that?
There's an image.
They were like pals, you know.
Yeah, there's an image.
However you do that, I don't know. So, all right. So, what's next, Chris? What are we
Well,
talking about next?
Well, you did bring up your other pal, Hakeem, Joy Reid's twin brother, and of course Spartacus's twin brother. I guess they're all triplets, if you will. You want to go that
So,
way?
yeah. So, hold on a second. I asked this earlier, but now Barry's here. Let me ask it, Barry. I don't think you heard the question. So, why is it that Hakeem Jeffries, every time he speaks, sounds like he just got pulled over at 3 a.m. after drinking and is about to be put through a field sobriety test? Why is it he always talks like that?
He's a Democrat.
That's a
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. Let's go to the board.
All right, let's go. For you New York sports fans, as the great Warner Wolf would say, let's go to the videotape.
ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach
Ooh, ICE
and are
agents are
trying to
mean.
hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain.
What do you think?
This is not the 1930s.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, the Iron Curtain didn't happen in the 1930s, but that's okay.
Like
And
I
every
said, I
single
could
one
just
of
see.
them.
I could just see some patrol officer at 3 a.m. Okay, sir, do you mind? Can we run you through some sobriety checks?
Well, what he's doing is trying to copy Barack Obama's personality. And that's what a lot of guys were trying to do for a little while. But Jeffries is taking it to an art form because he thinks he's going to be president one day. So he figured he's going to talk down and talk to Americans like Barack Obama did. But he lacks the charm.
Right.
He really does.
Yeah,
Probably.
there's no charm there.
Yeah.
He has the charm of Representative Delora.
Yeah, without the colorful hair.
That's right.
Maybe if he got a wig. You think that would help, Barry? You think if he had like a purple wig? Can you do that with Chat GPT? We should have a Chat GPT. I think he'd look good with purple hair. Maybe, he and Joy Reid could get together and do some fashion consulting to each other. That could be interesting.
No, it is Pride Month, so.
Oh, ouch! Yeah, get a rainbow haircut. Hey, here's something. The thing about what he's talking about here is Jeffries is trying to say, well, he's upset that the ICE agents are masked. Well, the acting director Todd Lyons said recently they're masked because liberals, leftists take videos of them and dox them, and their families will wind up being threatened. And look,
the children are being threatened.
Right, the children. So basically, Hakeem Jeffries is advocating for the threatening of bodily harm and possibly even death to women and children who are family members of ICE agents, because he knows these people are going to dox them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, speaking of ICE protests and Tim Walz, meanwhile in Minneapolis, a protest against
Right now. That's your city.
I mean, think about that. Hey, let's protest illegal immigrant roundups by destroying our own city.
So Minneapolis used to be a great place. Speaking of the 80s and 90s, I've talked about this on the show. I used to fly into Minneapolis coming back from missions in the Far East and hang out with my lesbian friends at Cafe Weird. And I'm not joking. It's like, hey, you like what I like. This is great. Let's go watch girls. I'm actually not joking. It's like, yeah, let's go watch girls. It's cool.
But this is what's
Minneapolis used to be like that. It was very inclusive. Our inclusive, not their inclusive. Like everybody that we like who has purple hair. Not everybody. So just saying. So Oh my.
The good thing about Minneapolis, it was so cold in Minneapolis at one point in the 1970s that if you threw your hat up in the air, it just froze.
Well, then that's why Mary Tyler Moore, is that why she was there?
Yeah.
You're going to make it after all? Is that what they say?
Now, Rhoda tried that in New York. If you remember the theme, the video, the theme from Rhoda, I guess the first season,
Yeah.
Rhoda tried to throw her hat up in the air and
somebody stole her hat.
No, it was 74, so I guess that makes sense. But no, it just went right down. I'm just going to pull that up, but yeah, she tried to throw it just right on the ground. Didn't quite work out. So there's a big difference between the two cities, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two women.
So, Barry, is that a good thing to do in New York? Just throw your hat up in the air and hope for the best? Is that like something commonly done? I've never seen it. I've been to Manhattan a couple times. Never seen it.
No, people walk with their heads down and their hats down and to their destination quickly. Yeah, you don't want to throw anything out in New York City.
You don't want to throw anything. That's right. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, okay, Chris, what's next? What are we talking about next?
Well, let's get into there because if you think about it, throwing the hat up in the air and hoping it lands somewhere, that's the Democrat Party strategy for
what sticks, right? Or what sticks
for president in 2028.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that. That's the old. I'm trying to find that. There it is. I think I found it. Here we go.
All right.
I think I found the Rhoda theme song, the Rhoda theme where she throws the hat up in the air. This is I believe this is from season 2. There we go. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Here we go. Here's Rhoda trying to pull it off in New York. Nope, this is the wrong one. Yeah, this is the one from season 2 where she got married. So that's another one.
Oh.
Anyway, the first season was the one. I'll have to find that. But anyway, she shouldn't have gotten married. The marriage was the highest rated TV show in the history of television up to that point, by the way.
So now that we're talking about old time TV, I gotta bring this up because it's related but not the same. I do believe the end of Newhart was brilliant. I don't know if you all remember that.
One of the great endings in TV history.
Yes,
one of the best. Oh my God! For those who don't remember, basically Newhart's plot was he ran a little inn in New England, right?
Right.
He was, he had the three Darryls. My name's Daryl, and my brother Daryl and Daryl.
Yeah, they were the second owners of the Minuteman Cafe. And
it was a great series, very funny. I mean, just funny. Just they knew how to write back then.
Yeah, Mr. Bixby was in that.
So apparently, Bob Newhart's wife, his real wife, came up with the ending of Newhart. Yeah, and so apparently, I read about this. Suzanne, I guess I can say it. Suzanne Plachette, It gives away kind of the ending, doesn't it? They snuck in Suzanne Plachette and didn't tell anybody, and they built the final set, without telling anybody. So they did this in front of a live studio audience, which is kind of cool. And so what they did was they went through the whole show, and everybody was kind of sad. And then at the very end, they turned all the lights out, and they roll the studio in, and they did not rehearse. I don't know if you knew this. They did not rehearse that scene.
Wow.
They did not rehearse that scene.
So they're both laying in bed. Lights are out.
Yeah, both laying in bed, and it was the Dallas dream sequence thing.
Right, exactly. Just done a lot better, though. A lot more.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it really was.
I like the WKRP ending where they had to close down the station. It was sold out and was done, so it was kind of sad, but that was a good one.
Like Mary Tyler Moore, same thing. Closed down the station.
Yep. What was it? Seinfeld was an underrated ending. I liked it, but people expected too much out of it. But it was a very.
I don't
good
know. Ending up in jail. I don't know. Barry, what do you think? I mean, I love Seinfeld, but I wasn't big on the ending. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I guess I didn't love it, but it was decent. It was kind of funny. I like the fact that were they arrested for not helping people, or basically for being jerks. So it's failing
to provide aid.
I mean, it was kind of a clever ending, but I don't know. Yeah, it was not as memorable. I barely do remember it. It's not like the Sopranos ending. Not that one I remember.
So that's ambiguous. So all right, Barry, you brought it up. Yeah. What happened? Did someone shoot him or not?
When it happened, and for years afterwards, I always said, "Oh, they didn't kill him," probably because I didn't want him to get killed. But I think David Chase in later interviews said, "Yeah, he got killed." So I think he actually said that was the intention.
I thought it was a pretty brilliant setup. It's like you just don't know. I guess you're sitting there thinking
it was brilliant. Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought
another brilliant. Now that we're going down this, another brilliant ending for a TV show. I got to say, I do love both from the artistic as well as the plot perspective. I'll just say it, Breaking Bad. That
absolutely.
I've never seen
oh
an
my
episode.
God.
One of the best series, one of the best
the end of that.
That was
the ending of Breaking Bad with Heisenberg. Say my name.
Wow, what a great show.
Bryan Cranston, he's an idiot, but he's a good actor.
He's such a great actor.
He can't act. Yeah, no, I try not to get, I try not to let my politics get in the way of acknowledging he is a brilliant actor.
Right.
And that song choice,
Badfinger.
Baby Blue, Badfinger,
mm-hmm.
Baby
Perfect.
Blue, and it's like, man, oh man, I get chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
Jamie Burns says, as far as the Patriots, Jamie Burns says, Golden Girls, Facts of Life, and Family Ties. I actually forgot the Family Ties ending.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
What was it? What was it?
I don't remember the ending though.
And the Golden Girls, I believe it was when what's her name? Maude married Leslie Nielsen, right?
Well, our friend Elizabeth liked Seinfeld.
Night Court,
Elizabeth.
Another one. Night Court, that's from Lady Bird. Okay, nice job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
sci-fi. Let's go to sci-fi real quick.
All right.
Because I know some of you, like me, yes, Breaking Bad, Jamie. I love Breaking Bad. Anyone who hasn't seen Breaking Bad, that was the last two episodes, because Hank has something coming to him. I don't want to ruin it for people that have not watched it. But it's like, holy cow. Anyway, but sci-fi. Let's hit sci-fi real quick. One of the best sci-fi series endings, and they ruined it way later. I won't say the name of the series, Picard. Was All Good Things. The 2-part episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation was brilliant. The way they ended it with Q. By the way, that's a crossover. Q. John Delancey also played in Breaking Bad. Just saying.
Yeah, I never saw Star Trek, so I can't.
Well, it was good. So
yeah. I never really liked Star Trek: The Next Generation. It took a little while to kind of catch on to that. I did like Deep Space Nine, though. I did not like
I love the fact that Hawk was the guy in charge from what do you call it? Oh my God, I'm having a Joe Biden moment.
Oh, you're having a me.
No, he played Hawk on that show with Boston. Spencer for Hire.
Oh yeah, Spencer. That was another very highly. It was a great show for a while. Now, keep in mind, my friends.
Robert Urich. I love that show. Yeah, I love that.
Robert Urich, by the way, was also the star of Love Boat: The Next Wave, I believe it was.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yep.
I didn't know there was a next
He
wave.
replaced Captain Steuben?
It was probably a tidal wave.
Well, it was the Next Generation show, I guess. You know, that's a whole different bird.
Hey, Chris, who told Captain Steuben, lighten up, Moriarty?
I don't know. Oh, I forgot.
Donald Sutherland in Kelly's Hero.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good one. Now, by the way, Hawk is not to be confused with Hawkman, or I guess whatever his name is, from Buck Rogers.
No, not Hawkman. No. I don't know. Barry, do you have that hair helmet somewhere? I could see you wearing that. Maybe
I did.
They look cool in that.
In the 70s, I have that.
Yeah.
That's how you went to clubs with
man.
that.
Oh man.
Yeah, went to rock and roll clubs.
Man, that's like super glue all over, like some sort of a net. You know,
we can't
like
forget,
a nest
we
you
can't
find in
forget
your garden.
We can't forget the greatest sci-fi show, The Lost in Space. How did that end? Did they make it back?
They did not.
I don't know. Chris is the not Lost in Space guy. He likes
they never had a real ending. They were canceled for having a real ending.
Okay. Yeah,
a lot of those. So
yeah.
they probably wouldn't have made it back. They were probably hoping to go 6-7 years on that one, but it just never worked out. They kind of messed up that third season because they got off the planet, which they had to get off the planet, but they made the new theme song, the new outfits. I'm sorry, you couldn't mix. You couldn't.
Became real campy.
You couldn't beat the orange turtleneck and the brown velour of Dr. Smith. The new colors were not very good. And they try to take a teenage I don't know how old Angela Cartwright was, but they dressed her up in a skimpy outfit. Like that reeks of Hollywood. I mean, that was
I think they were eaten in the land of the giants. I think they landed there and got eaten.
Or the plant people.
Yeah,
I
think so. That must be it.
Yeah.
No, but I do know Jonathan Harris went on to do a lot of great stuff, including playing the neighbor on Mr. Croc's Rock, the Saturday morning show starring.
I did not know that.
Starring.
How did I not know that?
Charles Nelson Riley.
Wow, what a pair! Just missing Paul Lynn.
Hey,
Paul Lynn. I like Paul Lynn. It reminds me of the match game. I love the match game.
Hollywood Squares. Wasn't Hollywood
Squares in the match game? Yeah.
Right.
Why don't so? I know we're geezing, folks, but why is it? Let me ask this question because I think it's relevant and everybody's paying attention. Why is it we don't have quality programs that just are either funny, entertaining, or somewhat it gives you moral questions to think about? Because that's the thing about the original Star Trek. You had moral questions being asked where you had to make some hard choices. And nobody wants to do that anymore. It's all about feelings like who's gayer?
Wokeness.
Which character is the most gay? You know?
Yeah.
They're trying to give a woke message these days. It's no more heroes.
Here's something you have to check all the boxes and make sure the white male is the butt of every joke.
Right.
The other thing is the lesson should have been learned from Ellen. And people talk about Ellen being one of the highest, the woman she came out being one of the highest rated programs in TV history. What they don't give you is the context of what happened with the show. Ellen was a very successful ensemble show for the first 2 seasons. They made a casting change, and I guess the guy who played her best friend left, and they brought her obnoxious guy who played her a cousin who was really obnoxious and a kind of annoying actor, and some other girl. I guess they brought up. I don't know if it was Jolie Fisher or somebody, but the dynamic kind of changed a little bit. They tried to find any way to save the show. I believe they tried to bring in Joel Higgins or what I forgot his last name's Higgins, one of the Higgins boys. They brought him in. Well, one day they decided the ratings were so bad that Ellen decided to come out as a lesbian and make her character do the same thing. The curiosity factor was there for the first couple episodes. People watched it, but then they realized this show just isn't funny anymore. And that's what happened. It wasn't a gay show. It should never have been. And even when it turned into one, it didn't save the show.
Jump the shark, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. There's always been undertones of certain characters. You kind of think maybe they're gay. It's like it kind of adds some drama, but it's not like in your face. Like you need to be gay.
Right.
Okay. Well, I don't think so. So
I am happy. That's what I
am
would say.
too.
I am happy.
I'm
thank
happy
you
you're
very
happy.
much. And thank you for your concern for me, by the way, too.
Yeah,
right.
Dr. Smith didn't throw it in our face, did he?
Dr. Smith
Oh,
is
the
the man. He
pain,
got
the
all the
pain.
women. Hey, he got all the women.
the
He got that
pain.
green alien. The green alien.
Right,
Handsome, pretty Dr. Smith. And then there was the girl who who suckered him into cutting his hair, I guess. Remember that episode where his hair grew and it became really strong? I am Dr. Smith. then she cuts his hair and he goes,
So,
they
they should really think about a reboot of Lost in Space, and they could have Lindsey Graham play Dr. Smith.
They did. And you know who
That could
played
be
Dr.
interesting.
Smith? No, they did a remake. And you know who
They
played
did.
Dr. Smith?
Who?
Parker
Yeah.
Posey. Yes, they made
Oh.
Dr. Smith abroad.
Oh, I had no idea. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And of
Well,
course,
before
speaking
that,
of
the
abroad,
other remake, they did another remake back in the 90s,
that was
I
a
think.
movie version.
and
Joey-
what's his name? What's his name played Dr. Smith?
Yeah, Gary Oldman played Dr. Smith.
Gary Oldman.
By the way,
He was good.
Every
Oh, the
Lost in
movie,
Space original character, original cast member, was offered a bit part in it, a cameo. Harris did not make his cameo. Harris decided not to because he said there was only one Dr. Smith, and that's true. But he would have been that boss, that guy in the shadow that Gary Oldman was talking to. And Joey was the pilot, if I'm correct. But no,
Joey was.
Yep. But in the Netflix series remake, they rebooted. They made Dr. Smith a chick, and since he was a chick, he couldn't be a coward. He had to be a brave and solid.
Yeah, and did you
mentor
see
to
they're going
the
to
kid.
remake? They're
I
going
didn't
to
know they
remake
did that.
some movies. They're going to remake the movie about Adolf Hitler dying in the bunker, and they're going to make the main character a black woman. So that'll be a good. That'll be a good.
Stacey Abrams can play him.
Yeah. See, it's Joy Reid. They're going to have Joy Reid star as Hitler. It'll be great.
Her hair's too short.
All right. Well, we got to go. We're over time, and I got meetings
Thanks,
I
guys.
literally have to go to here right after we're done. So,
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Mary,
Great
it's
seeing
always
you.
fun because you.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody was saying they enjoyed the geezing because they geeze with us. So
Yeah.
a
Sometimes-
geezing day is a good day. Yeah.
Right, and that's what we're doing. By the way, we have Tracy and company, Tracy, George, Sean, and the crew have a good guest tomorrow. They have Pastor Jackson Leemeyer from the White House Faith Council. That's going to be fun too. So
good.
check it out tomorrow.
Great. And we'll be back Monday, right? Monday and Tuesday next week.
We're gonna like Mondays better than the Boomtown Rats.
That's right. That's right. Well, y'all have fun. Remember,
you.
enjoy June. We're halfway through this, halfway through the year already. So
It's a better month than the past months, the past June.
that's right. All right. Well, thanks, Patriots. We'll see you all soon.